Danaher, Jonathan Danaher, they grew up in the ranks together. So that's very, very old school. And a long time, because we opened in Chicago in 1996. We opened up out here in 1994, and then Junior moved here in 96, and the rest is history. So he's been with us a long time. I got this in 2002, so it's got a lot of work. This is not from the washer and dryer. You can see the original belts or stripes, and as I got older, they get more white. I worked the most recent one last year. So I got this from Carlson, Gracie Jr.'s dad. So I cut a little piece off and I put it on a piece certificate. All right.
Black belt.
Faixa preta.
Yep.
Os.
Here it comes. Fine.
More than deserve it. Late. Too late. Too late. You're from Purdue.
Yeah.
Me or you?
I'll take off and put on. How's
Okay.
that? Then we get both. Man, that's not my type. Belt's so old, it's like just warm.
Secret.
Exactly.
Secret. Os.
Oh, yeah. All right.
It's your time. You can do whatever you want.
All right.
You're a black belt now.
All right, so, wow, this is amazing. This is really an honor of a lifetime to be in this group at all and to have been here. You know, I see you guys coming up, and I just remember flashing back to my crew of training partners and, you know, the grinding that happens on these mats, these sacred mats. It's really amazing. I mean, I know I'm a stranger to you guys, but I do know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, do I have to shave my head to get a black belt? And that's, it's not.
Yes, you do.
I'm still holding on.
It's not. If you're over 35.
Still
Yeah.
holding on.
35 or not in shape.
No, the story, you know, your journey is such a important thing. It was huge for me. As Professor Jeff was saying, I started at Henzo School in 1996 after having done some Japanese jiu-jitsu in Minneapolis, which is what I did after college. I started that in 92, and in November of 93, they had this new mixed martial arts competition thing. It was an 8-man tournament, and one of Professor Carlson's cousins, Gracie, was in that tournament. And I was doing Japanese jiu-jitsu at the time. We didn't know anything about it. It was UFC 1, but we all watched it together, and we really cheered for the jiu-jitsu practitioner, of course. Me and my knuckle-dragging friends at the time. We didn't know if it was going to be real or whatever. They showed it on something called cable TV, which was back in the day what we watched things on. But as soon as we saw the sumo wrestler's teeth fly into the first row, we knew it was really the real deal. And so mixed martial arts was born, and really Junior's family brought that to the United States, and obviously the UFC's exploded ever since. But you know, in terms of belts, they didn't have stripes at all. So when I trained at Henzo's for just a year and a half before I came here, Henzo had opened a Philadelphia school, and they had like an intra-school tournament. And I actually didn't think I was going to be able to go, but at the last minute, something cleared up for me and I could go. So Henzo gave me a lift to the tournament, and he said, oh, I'll take care of you, I'll sign you up and all that jazz. I was a white belt, and I thought, okay, I'm in the white belt group. And the white belts had done their rounds, and they're going into the second round, and they hadn't called my name yet, so I hadn't competed. And I went up to Master Henzo, and I said, well, you know, they didn't call my name. You know, they're going on to the second round. He said, words that still put ice into my veins. He said, And he pointed over to the blue belt circle and said, "No, man, you're over here." And so he gave me immediately a blue belt and threw me into the wolves over there. I borrowed Sean Williams' blue belt. Sean Williams, if you've ever watched the ADCC, he tends to be the announcer on the big final, semifinal matches and things. And 2 minutes later, I tapped out to an armbar. So that was my blue belt story coming out of the gate. Good laugh. So when I came to Chicago, I got into school here and went to first class downtown. And I think Daniel Vienna, or Paolo or Daniel were teaching that class downtown. And I swear, I mean, I was 6'2", 180 at the time. That was probably 15 pounds ago. And I think I was 30 pounds lighter than everyone else in the class. I mean, I swear there were just giants all over the place. It was a frightening room to be in there for a while. But over time, I learned it wasn't just the Brazilians. There was this blue belt who was an American, and he was really in charge of seemingly running the school. He was teaching classes, and he was big, but he moved like a featherweight. It was, I mean, I just hadn't seen anything like it. You were in his guard, you weren't in his guard. He was up, he was down, and over time, I realized that I had a blue belt. Henzo just gave me that blue belt, but this guy was a blue belt. He was giving privates, teaching classes, and you know, back in the day, when Junior's dad had classes, you didn't get promoted until someone above you moved up. You had to be the best at your rank. You know, if you were a brown belt, you didn't get black belt until someone basically retired. And I think that maybe, and I'm glad standards are loosened at this point. Thank you very much for that. But I mean, maybe those standards still exist because that blue belt was Jeff Neal, and he was just sort of running the whole bit. And I ultimately asked him to take privates. I would go back to New York periodically and train with my friends on the weekend. I had a girlfriend in New York. I would take a private with John Danaher and go to Saturday morning class, and I'd say, well, I'm taking privates from this amazing player in Chicago, the Carlson Gracie team, and they, you know, what belt is he? He's a blue belt. And they kind of had to scratch their head, like, you're a blue belt taking privates from a blue belt, what's going on? So you don't understand. So anyway, that's a little bit of my background and my first two belts. Oh, the second belt, I'm getting there. The second belt, I was taking privates with Jeff, and she was sick one day, so he called me and said, I'm not going to be able to come in, but Junior will cover for me. So Junior showed up, and I had a private with him, and I worked really hard. He definitely was playing with me, but I had a lot of fun with it. He went into the back room and came out, and that's how I got my purple belt. He gave it to me right there, which was easier than how I got it with Henzo, so thank you for that. That was how belts came. It wasn't in nice ceremonies like this. They just sort of came in haphazard ways in some sense. But truth be told, this is not my first black belt. I got a black belt when I was 17 in karate. And what I found is that people, when they hear you train martial arts, I'm sure you've gotten this as well, they'll ask you, have you ever had to use it? And I think they've seen movies, bar brawl, someone breaks a bottle, you ever have to defend yourself or get jumped in an alleyway or whatever else. That never happened to me. So no, I never had to use it, never had that problem. But if I think about it 1 minute longer, the reality is I've never had to use it, but I choose to use it really every day. And I try to explain the importance of what it is in my life to my daughters here, who I've dragged out of school from New York to come see this and film me, of course. But things like efficiency, setting yourself up to get the maximum return for the minimum amount of effort. Things like not panicking. I'm a scuba diver, and there have been a number of times when things went a little sideways underwater, and it's been surprising to me, frankly, how calm I have stayed. Breathe deeper, think about what needs to get done so that you get to the situation that's where it should be faster than otherwise. Looking at the whole picture. How many of you have seen white belts or been the white belt who's gotten that head and arm control the first time, holding on for dear life, and then they miss the fact that knee is coming into their hip pocket, and now they're losing that position, and now they're fighting an inverted arm bar because they were holding on for dear life. Watching with curiosity, trying to pick up and learn with eyes that are curious about what's happening. These are life lessons that that happen every day for me that I'm thinking about. Finally, I think the toughest one, of course, is trying to maintain balance at all times, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally. These young ladies try me on a daily basis to make sure that I am in balance, and they usually prove that I'm often not. Really, I'm so happy to be here and share this with you guys. It's a tremendous honor, and in addition to all those incredible things, even the small stuff for me. I just promise I'll wrap in a minute. Like getting out of a car for me, I don't really get out of a car. I do a mini bridge, and then I do a right leg step under so I don't wear out the seat like I did in my last car. I got a new car, so I'm trying not to wear out the seats. I don't get into bed. I get inside foot position on my sheets. I mean, there are things like this that happen all the time. My breathing has changed because of jiu-jitsu. So when people ask, did you ever have to use it? No, except every breath I take. That's really what it means to me. But in addition to all that amazing stuff, as I said in the beginning, it's really a lot about the people. And I brought a couple things, gifts for Junior and Jeff, which really are about the people that were in my era.
Oh, thank you. Very nice. Nice group.
You guys just been trading the black background of the wood.
Wow. That's some old school there.
Very nice.
He looked the same. This has got to be around 98.
Yeah, I had hair in that one. See, I can't recognize it.
That's Pete with hair. That's the Rottweiler. If you guys ever heard that nickname, one of the best. Wow, it's amazing.
Very nice.
So thank you guys so much. Thank you for all for your time.
Well deserved.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Davey Arrowhead. Arrow La Pointe.
Yeah.
Do I go back? Do I get to stay?
No, you stay here.
You're right over there. Next to Ryan.
New line for you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Put it right here. So I guess I'll resume about promotion. So I believe everybody's expecting maybe